Welcome to Read This Author's Corner. I am your host, Alice Maria, and today I have with me poet Andrene Bonner, the author of Women in the Wind. Author, poet, educator, performing artist. Welcome, Andrene, for Poetry Month. And I can't wait for us to talk about Woman in the Wind. You have written this book about all these amazing women. Welcome.
Thank you. I am so very excited to be here, Alice. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited to have you. But before we jump into your book of poetry, I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself as an author and a poet, because you do so much. We could never cover all of it, but I would love for them to know about the woman that's the author, the poet.
Well, I'm an educator, an award-winning author, award-winning performer, and a poet, praise poetry in particular, and a grandmother and a mother.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. So tell me, what got you involved in poetry?
I've been writing poetry since I was a little girl. I remember very clearly that my very first memory of writing a full length poem, I was 9 years old. And it was about my little pet rooster. And oh my goodness, Alice, I would recite it everywhere. I would recite it at church concerts. I would recite it in school. It just stayed with me for many, many years. And I just kept writing, and my teachers helped me and nurtured the talent. Of course, my mother's also a poet as well. And so she was also there to be my big audience.
Well, excellent. Well, it's wonderful because you've had many years to develop this talent that you had. And now you have a whole book dedicated to poetry about these amazing women. I'm so in awe about what inspired you to write a book about these amazing women.
What really inspired me? There are three things that I inspired me to write this. Number one is I think about their erasure, the erasure of women from history and literature. Brave women who are underrepresented, they're unsung, overqualified, but overlooked and passed up for mediocrity. That is one of my reasons for that. I sort of imagined walking into the White House, Alice, and not seeing Michelle Obama's portrait next to Rosalind Carter or Eleanor Roosevelt or Hillary Clinton.
Mm.
Preserving the African praise poetry is another one reason for the book and inspiration for the book. Bestowing praise and honor on those who have really served tirelessly. Nelson Mandela has his own praise poet, or they call it a praise singer or the Izibongo, as they call it in their language. And then more than anything else, I am inspired by gratitude. I remember when I was growing up as a little girl in primary school, that's between ages 4 and 11. We used to sing a daily prayer. Thank you, Lord, for the world so sweet. Thank you for the food we eat. Thank you for the birds that sing. Thank you, Heavenly Father. We sang it with joy and reverence. So anyone who experienced me, Alice, knows that I'm very polite, and thank you is easy for me. My students know it, my siblings know it, my peers know it. The gentleman or the gentle lady who opens a car door for me, everybody knows it. So those are really kind of like the three main reasons for me creating this book. And then we can go into it a little deeper a little later in our conversation.
Yeah, I love the fact that you mentioned the point about erasure. That is such an important component of just writing and documenting a history and people in and of itself, because we know a lot of stuff is starting to be or trying to be erased. So I
Mhm.
am so excited that you have saw fit to.
I sort of wanted to join this clarion call that the advocacies, advocacy groups, and the human rights organizations, the academics, the legal scholars, they have been working tirelessly, to protect women who they consider endangered species.
Mhm.
Women, like Ya Asantewaa, who only shows up in our conversations sometimes during Black History Month.
Right.
But these women, there are shoulders that we are standing on. Nanny of the Maroons. These are shoulders we're standing upon. And so we need to be writing more. I feel as a writer, I'm responsible to write more about these persons on whose shoulders we stand, and of course are wonderful inventors, you know. They're women inventors, whether they're in aerospace engineering, or in electronics or agriculture.
Right.
They, at various areas of technology, they're in Silicon Valley too,
Yeah.
working and making strides. And so that is one of the reasons I feel motivated to make sure, in my own way, that these women are celebrated, they are documented somewhere
Yes,
that
I agree.
somebody, later on will do some research and say, oh, woman in the wind,
Yes.
18 fabulous women. I'm
Yes.
actually writing a book too right now, because I have volumes and volumes of praise poems that I have written, celebrating women over the years.
Let's talk about, why did you choose Rihanna or Rihanna?
Ooh, why did
Ooh,
I
why did you
why did
choose
I
her?
choose Rihanna? Oh, let me explain that, because I get, you see my cheeks. Oh my God!
Yes.
What sparked this poem? It was that I admire this young, vibrant fierceness in a young woman who seizes life. I recognize my own multi hyphenate persona in her as one with many professions and skills. Actor, I'm singer, I'm writer, I'm songwriter, I'm educator, I'm parent, as I shared early on. The classic sarcasm. Jamaicans have 10 jobs. Well, so do Barbadians. Like Rihanna. I admire how, she has the chutzpah and the audacity to leverage all of those skills and to create meaning and in her world. I I want to celebrate these virtues instead of, mocking us as people who have do multiple jobs. I want to amplify her life in this poetic narrative, to inspire others who dream of success. A little girl in Barbados, a little girl in Jamaica, a little girl in Harlem, a little girl in North Carolina, you know, who is there wanting to tell her story and how she can use her story to create money. Because that's exactly what Rihanna is doing. She's using her storytelling skills to sing and to make money. You know, so moving through the creation of this work, I wanted to capture the musicality, through the diction and the Caribbean vernacular. It's, because the Caribbean has its own musical vocabulary, which is so an aesthetic that is so beautiful, Alice, so textured, you know, just like Rihanna and her diamonds under the umbrella, and another thing too that sort of inspired me to do this work is I write for performance. As a performer myself, I write for performance. So my poetry, I want to be at some point be able to perform my work.
I love how you introduce Rihanna, and now from the excitement and the rhythm and the fun of Rihanna, let's go to the seriousness of Winnie Mandela. You chose her as someone that to write a poem about.
Well,
Why her?
Winnie Mandela. First of all, I wrote this poem in the 1990s in response to allegations surrounding the murder of a 14-year-old boy by a member of her team. I was one of the first online when Nelson Mandela came to Los Angeles after his release. So clearly, it was a time of celebration, but her legacy was being shrouded by this scandal. I wanted to honor her for holding the revolution together. She was with us in the trenches
Right.
during Nelson's incarceration. So hers was the voice that echoed across the world. And this poem has gone through several revisions as more information became crystallized through my research and after, reading it a few times. And so my ultimate intention is I wanted her birth children and Soweto's children to hear my heart, that I feel the pain of their mother being banned and relegated to nomadic existence, stripped of your citizen with your babies on your back. Madikizela mama, mazikizela mama. Soweto children cry, Soweto children die. You're in my way, apartheid. You're in my way. I wanted that. I wanted that out there in the world. I wanted it to vibrate and resonate, and so that her children could feel, how I felt about their mother.
Well, thank you. Thank you for not just telling me, but actually showing and performing the poem and the song. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. I'm going to talk about all four of these women just because
Yes.
I believe that it's important enough. So I'm going to jump back to I'm going to keep it light and bring it forward to another young person, Amanda Gorms. What made you snatch her into your universe?
2021. Joe Biden's presidential inauguration and freezing early morning temperatures at the United States Capitol. Amanda Gorman recited that inaugural poem, and I was transfixed in awe of her greatness. She showed such great strength and courage. And her level of scholarship, her insightfulness, her erudition, her ability to speak on national and world issues. Oh, I'm just in awe of her brilliance. And it took me back to my youth, reciting in the Jamaica Cultural Development Corporation's JCDC competitions, or at my school and church concerts. So I made a connection with her youthfulness. And then coming to America and doing the same with every opportunity I was afforded. That is why Amanda is in my book. She belongs there. She belongs among these great women. And it is my hope that one day she will read it and be moved.
Hope she reads it and be moved too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and then we're going to close out the conversation about these women with someone from your country, my country. We had to go there, right? We could not walk away from this conversation about these women without talking about somebody from Jamaica. So you brought in Beverly. What
Beverly Manley. Let me go back to the late 1980s. Celebrated playwright George Wolfe wrote a piece called The Colored Museum. I imagined a one woman show with me telling a type of story with women like Beverly Manley. You see, after all, curators are not scrambling to hang our portrait in museums around the world. And that is still my wish, Alice, still my wish. So, my goal in this poem is to situate Beverly Manley among great women's voices for change and resistance, women suffragists, transformational feminists, educators, wives who make prime ministers, presidents, and premiers of their husbands. The black are naturally beautiful. I speak of her resistance to the lacquered mane for dreadlocks instead. And above all, I want to celebrate her brevity, her courage. The title of the piece is called Barefaced Bravery. She was spoiled to, especially, I laugh all the time when I think about this, to rein in two alpha males, Prime Minister Michael Manley and Donald Keith D.K. Duncan. They were some revolutionaries in their own rights. They were insisted on saving the Jamaican people from self-contempt and also to help them to acquire true independence, not a sham independence, real independence where they can take agency of their lives, and governance and economics, sustainable economics. That was just so fascinating about that time period when the Manleys were in charge of the Jamaican machinery. And it is a time honored period. And I just believe that I wanted to see her in the Smithsonian, in the international section of the Smithsonian too, or down at MoMA in New York. She belongs there. Her story needs to be told, and that's why I did, and that's why she belongs in this work.
Well, I hear the passion in your voice as you talk about the women you chose. I see that you did not choose them lightly.
No.
You chose them because they inspire you. They are a better phrase, the wind beneath your wings. There's
Yes.
something about who they are that really propels you forward, which is a beautiful thing. And because you are such a talented poet and you are able to perform your poetry so eloquently, would you be so kind as to share your skills with us and possibly do Rihanna?
Oh, I thought
Could
you
I
never
beg you?
It makes me to recite Rihanna's poem makes me feel young. She beats out polyrhythms with her barefoot in the mud. Ah, glissando. Contrast tempos, patterns overlap, sifts sand between her toes, rattles pebbles in calabash along the way, like maracas of a Guinea goddess, whose ceremonial melodies like incense rise to the summit of Mount Hillaby. masticates C sharps and A minors, flats and naturals, pulses and meters, bright lyrics, a spicy mirepoix, tangy as turmeric, sweet as molasses, hot the way Scotch bonnet scotches make you speak in tongues, accenting the Bajan dialect to tell the story of the people proper and direct. She hears the music in women's voices, calling little boys and girls from the rain or that we catch cold. Elders chasing little troublemaker off the corner. Hardest you won't hear, then your butt can feel. She picks up the banter from the higgler in the market, learns how to count her money. The mighty ever expansing moolah, for moolah don't smell no matter what them say. Hmm. Watch. Yes. Watch how she twerk, she boxy. The way trade winds does circle round hurricane eye. Blow she thunder flock high. Show she mass eye legs as stilettos to crush rock stones as she gyrates the walk up. Watch. Just watch how she's stylish. With a flick of the wrist, her head whips, hits the spot, counts 5, Shanays with a zhoosh. A sushi zhoosh, sharp like a pilolo, grinds to the reggae and the R&B. Her body in frenetic energy defies Newton's law of mass and force, for it's like her inside thermostat ablaze, thrusts her like a rocket in sparkling skies. The people gaze and gaze and gaze as she rises toward the sun. And she teaches, blessed are those who create to have their own. For all I wanna, rich or poor, sick or well, to shine bright like a diamond. Bright like a diamond. Pull up, pull up, pull up, wheel and come wheel. Riri knows what she's worth. None dares drag her through the dirt. She invites the little disaffected little flirty flirt to rise above privations. Let her show Punchinella like a fella how to make money walk and talk from the balconies of Baxter's Road to the Eiffel Towers of Gay Paris. Come, come, make she show you how. Under her umbrella. Ella, 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 time-tested, $1 billion umbrella, Ella, Ella. The ancestors knew she would come, to rise like a brave and sonorous falcon. From the river valleys of Bimsha across the Atlantic, carrying Fenty beauty to mesmerize the world with her naughty, nice, and nifty, packing Yankee Stadium, rocking her brand at the Stade de France, her brand of music racking up awards. Robin, Rihanna Fenty, who's giving Reddy's youth aplenty, schools them in climate resilience, inspires them to seize independence, must raise her own children now. A national hero, a legend, a force of nature among the living.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much for sharing all that passion with us. As we're wrapping up, what is it that we didn't share that you would like the audience to take away from this book?
Oh, I would like people to take away so much as I continue to take away myself, because I am as much vested in this book of poetry as audience. Because there's always something I'm learning. People will take away a deep appreciation for the voices and contributions of women who have been overlooked or erased throughout history. So I also want them to recognize, as I advocate for the African praise poem as a genre of study, I'm offering an alternative perspective that emphasizes the richness and depth of African traditions in poetry. And so I'm encouraging poets, to look beyond the European poetics and explore the full spectrum of global poetic forms, including the African praise poem. So that's a takeaway for the poet. I'm also hoping that we will now take away an understanding of how important it is to include diverse voices in the various spaces in world literature, and for readers to feel inspired to see the power of imagination and the power of words in shaping culture, and the power to heal society's wounds and to drive change. So readers will walk away. I'm confident, because I started walking away with that too, with a sense of empowerment from the examples of these strong women, and from the reminder that stories can be reclaimed. We've locked these women away in boxes and in pigeonholes, and so we want to reclaim their stories, to uplift and to challenge societal norms. I also want readers to take away gratitude, as I opened with earlier. Gratitude. Gratitude from this work. Gratitude from the person in the supermarket who helped you with your groceries, that little young boy or that young girl who helped you to pack your groceries and walk you to the car. Just gratitude. Praise them. Praise them for their kindness. Praise them for how they showed up in the world that day to be of service to you. That's what I want folks to take away. Our responsibility to celebrate the beauty that is in humanity, and to recognize the humanity in others.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Andrene. This was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your passion and your love for your craft and the beautiful craft that you do. I thank you for taking the time to spend with me and to share. And I'm sure we'll do other things. And I'm so honored to be featuring you for this Poetry Month.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am forever grateful.
I'd like to thank my special guest, Andrene Bonner, for her excellent performance of her poetry and for the time that she has spent with us. Please go out and pick up a copy of her book, Woman in the Wind. This has been Read This, Author's Corner. I am your host, Alice Maria. Keep reading, keep growing, and stay empowered.